So it's my pleasure to kick off today's event. You know what I'm going to do before I kick off? We had such an amazing trip throughout the whole of Asia. Well, not the whole of Asia, some key parts of Asia. And we put a great video together. There was professional photographers and videographers at the events. It was refreshing because I didn't need to pull out my camera as much. But what I do want to show you guys is a quick video, which is just we've got grabs of different parts of the different bits around the world and put it all into one little video, which will give you a quick snapshot. So I apologize if not all your groups in there, but we had to run it through in no longer than 2 minutes. Otherwise, would have been about an hour. So check this out. It's really cool. How cool was that? If you love that video, type it in the chat. I just love the fact that we've been able to get the core of the membership across all of those different countries. And it wasn't just one team in any location. There was a combination of many different teams. And I love saying this, as an ambassador for NUMI, I'd say, having helped find the investors for the company, get it kicked off, what have you, I have one hat I wear, which is the ambassador hat, and that is for the betterment and the culture and support of every team across the globe, no matter whose team you're in. And some are not in mine, which is totally okay. So with that in mind, we had an amazing kickoff. Liz and I flew from here in Australia excitedly over to, first off, pit stop was the Philippines, where we got to spend time with some of the people who were the pioneers of the country 2.5, nearly 3 years ago, which was Mark Rosario as a founding member, who then spawned a brand new diamond, which was Greg Yalung. And these guys have been with us for quite some time. Of course, then we started a medical advisory board representation with Dr. Celine as well. And so that went on, which was fantastic. And then now we have other teams, I'm just changing my language here, which have come in. And I want to publicly thank mentor Anna for her and her team's support for this amazing corporate event that we had running there, because it meant that we could have local representation from many teams helping getting things going. So that was our first pit stop. And Liz was like, what? This is crazy. And they were good events. I can't remember, maybe 250 people or maybe 300 people or so. And then we flew from there, from those events, into the countries that were just brand new. And we flew into Jakarta and did an event there, and it was about 2,500 people in the room. It was just mind-boggling. And then we had the next event in Surabaya, which is a regional location. Imagine coming to Australia and Sydney's there, that's Jakarta, and up here is the Sunshine Coast. What's that? Well, that's Surabaya. And they had 3,500 at that event, which was just unbelievable. So the fuse has been lit. And there's still some, getting some system rectifications happening in the back office and what have you to get all the volume processing. But Indonesia's family are no longer distant cousins. They are part of the Numi family, which is really exciting. Now, with that in mind, that's a quick kickoff from me. What I'd love to do is to get Mark Rosario just to hop in and again share a little perspective about what he felt and how he felt about the Philippines event. So I'll kick off with you. If you want to unmute, Mark, over to you.
Hello, Michael, and thank you for having me today. And hello, everybody from the Philippines. Yes, it was a great event here in the Philippines. And first of all, I would like to thank Liz and Michael and Aaron and Steve and all the teams who participated in this event. Thank you very much for coming over to the Philippines. And, it really shows the commitment and the of Numi to the Philippine market. Well, it's really something when people from corporate comes over to the Philippines. First of all, well, Michael, it's really good to see you again. Spend time with you, and you've been a mentor to me, not only in business but even in personal things. And I really thank you. We had a lot of times that we have shared, and I would say it would be a highlight for me that we went personally spending time with you, going diving and knowing you on a level, on a personal level, you and Liz, that's really something. And of course, meeting Aaron for the first time and knowing the direction, knowing the initiatives and the commitment of Numi to the Philippine market is really something, and it really boosts our energies back here in the Philippines. And of course, with Steve coming here again, that's really something, spending time with the three of you during breakfast and just being ourselves, being genuine, being authentic, being vulnerable. That is really something precious to me. We are in the business of relationship building, and the events were great, but really building relationships with people like you, and knowing how we tick and getting to know each one, our partners, on a personal level is really something great. And of course, we have met a lot of new members coming in, new teams coming in, joining the Numi family. And what's good about it? After the meeting, I see these teams, embracing the culture, embracing the integrity, the professionalism of Numi. And so that's really one big step, one big leap of getting everybody singing in one hymn book, if you may. So integrity, culture, professionalism, those are great buzzwords that we had during the 5-day event. And what better way to convey this message than seeing it displayed personally by, well, Michael, and Aaron, and of course, Steve. Well, we sat on the table. We had breakfast together. We've become vulnerable. We've become genuine. We laughed together. We had a few laughs together, and we also, cried together. And that to me is very precious. And so we're looking forward that as a kickoff of being already 3 years in the Philippines. We look forward to greater heights as we prepare for 2024. So again, we would like to welcome other team members and other, especially, I see Joe here. Wow, Joe's just set the standard, just Indonesia just set the standard of Numi. And we're really challenged, to do that. Congratulations also, Joe. And back to you, Michael.
Beautiful, beautiful. And you know what? It's so true. We've been building business on like this, and Mark and I, from the day, Numi launched in Philippines, on day one when we launched, we were online like this. And of course, meeting someone in person, going scuba diving, go to Batangas, by the way. Oh my God, I'll show you a video at the end if you like to hang around. But wow, what an amazing experience. And it was that, cracking a couple of Coronas together and building friendships, which was even more important than just the business, which is fantastic. With that in mind, speaking of friendships, I would love to bring our founder, Steve Scott, on just to give a recap of the Asian tour from his perspective. So it was a pleasure spending so much time with you, buddy.
Thank you. Ditto. First of all, my recap, it was unbelievable. Michael, back to you. No, it was terrific. And of course, I had a chance to meet mentor Anna and her team, amazing. They really worked hard to make the event everything that it was. It was amazing. Dr. Joe, thank you so much for, we had 42 people from the medical profession at a dinner. And I know, Joe, that was, you worked real hard on that. And I want to just share my gratitude with that. I want to also thank Dr. Celine Bartoli. She was unbelievable. She's on our medical board. She is always a blessing to me. You know, I love praying doctors. Yeah, I love doctors that know that they know some, but they're connected with the great physician who knows even more. And so that was a blessed time with her, her husband. It was, I'm very grateful, of course, for Mark. Mark's been a friend for a very long time. So has Greg Yalung. They really were among the founding members in the Philippines, and they have always worked. Even when things went wrong, they kept working. So the event is a culmination of the work of a lot of people. And I love getting to meet the new people, the new teams. I love the, what's the right word? The stamina, the doggedness, the perseverance. You know, that always makes us stronger. Perseverance never makes us weaker. And so for all of those in the Philippines, we know that there was a big hiccup, and we apologize for that. I should have done more due diligence, and that has bit me in the butt a few times. But Mark, Greg, you guys hung in, your team hung in, and now we have Mentor Anna, and her team is just also amazing. And they're the ones that really, I think, put in the most planning for the event, the most work, and it showed. It showed. It was not a thrown together event, no part of it. It was all very well organized. I love the doctor event. That's one of my favorite things, is to talk to doctors and scientists. And I love the new people that have come in as well. So yeah, it was great. And then on to Indonesia. Wow. What a treat. We had 2,000 people roughly in Jakarta, and the enthusiasm is amazing. The commitment is amazing. And we saw that, and it was a great meeting. We met a lot of people, met a lot of professionals, a lot of doctors, but more importantly, we met everybody. We met the people that are just getting started, and they're ready to go to town and work really hard. And then we went off to Sarabayu, which I had never heard of before. I'm sorry, I don't know world geography. My best friend's son memorized the whole globe, every major city, every major river, every mountain range on every continent. I mean, it was crazy how he memorized that, and did it before he was in high school, and which really kind of embarrassed me. But unfortunately, I do not have global geography printed on my mind. But I'll tell you, more important than the geography is the people, and we have great people. Our office manager in Indonesia, or our country manager, and her staff, we had a chance to spend a lot of time with them. There's about 8 people. We have a beautiful office, and in Jakarta. And it was just, if you said describe the people, I would say kind, I would say gentle, until they want a picture, and then all gentleness is put aside, and everybody wants pictures. And we had bodyguards, and their job was to make sure we got to our seats and to the stage, because the people really did swarm. But I know that Aaron and I both stopped a lot of times to talk. That kind of frustrated these guys that are trying to protect us from being mauled. But I will tell you, in one sense, I kind of wish they weren't there, because after meetings, I always look forward to the 2 or 3 hours that it takes to work through the crowd as far as people and hugs and gratefulness and thanks and hearing stories. We did hear amazing stories, by the way. No wonder people are excited, both in the Philippines and the few people in Indonesia that have had on the product. I got home, rested for about 3 or 4 days, and then it was off to Mexico. And I know we're not supposed to talk about Mexico. That's not on the agenda today, but that was another unbelievable. It was an incredibly run event. And there I got to meet, of course, the doctors and so many wonderful people. But you know who I met? I met some people who had had medical situations that I have pictures of. And they had, in some senses, no hope, no hope. And yet, in weeks, issues were resolved that usually are unresolvable issues. That thrills me. That thrills me because we've always said this is a legacy business. You reach one person and you're reaching a family. You reach a family and you're reaching generations. So my thanks to everybody that worked so hard. Joe, that's the biggest medical meeting we've ever had. And so thank you for all your effort, because that doesn't happen. People don't just show up. They have to be encouraged and re-encouraged and reminded. And obviously that's what networkers are used to doing, but doctors don't necessarily do that. And so I'm grateful, but I know that, and one of our medical board members that we have the utmost respect was ill. He is a brilliant, brilliant heart surgeon, graduated from the #1 heart surgery school in the United States, was head of cardiothoracic surgery at the top hospital in the United States, St. Luke's in Houston. And he wasn't able to make it this time. So Dr. Bartoli, if you would remember to tell him that how much we really missed him. So that's about it, Michael. It couldn't have been any better. The flights were long, but everything. The only bad part about the trip, my doctor only prescribes Ambien for me when I go on international trips so I can adjust to time zones and sleep on the flights. And guess what? I left my Ambien on the last leg of the trip. No. And I think that's really cool. That's the Lord saying, you don't need it now. Get off it. Because Ambien will become addictive. So now you know all the personal things, but we're really grateful. We know where it all comes from. We know that we're merely the glove on the hand of the Lord. The glove does no work. When Bill Gillespie lifts 1,100 pounds, the gloves he wears don't even lift an ounce. And so I'm grateful that the Lord lets me be a glove in this wonderful NUMMI family. Thank you. Mike, back to you.
Beautiful, Steve. And can I just say a special thanks to Steve, because Aaron and I were saying when we were on this trip, we go at 100 miles an hour. And in fact, my beautiful Liz, she's like, oh my God, I didn't realize. Like in the first trip to Indonesia, she said to me, you know, how come you haven't got back to me and what have you? And she was on this trip. She's like, oh, now I get it. Every second of your day is being dragged from a photo, or whatever it may be. And so, you know, Steve, to manage what you just did at your age is just a mammoth task. And so we want to be very grateful for that. So thank you.
Thanks for mentioning my age. By the way, my doctor did put me on a new healthy diet. So 99% of the good food that was there, I had to pass up. I did eat salmon twice. And when I started burping it on the third day, I said, that's all for salmon this trip. But anyway, enough. I just love you guys. You guys are the best part of NUMMI. You know, it's not the meetings. It's not the cheering and the excitement. It's the people. It's the people that go back home and make the phone calls, tell the story, get the people on the calls. You guys do all the work. Yeah. And Aaron and I really are here to serve everybody. And that's how our staff is at NUMMI. We view ourselves as servants, not kings.
Beautiful. Well, you know, I sent a text to Ryan while we're over there, and I said, I'm doing what I can to look after to Steve as if he was my own father. So you can rest assured we're looking after him, and same with Aaron at the same time. So make sure you do that if you have the luxury of have Steve come to your country. Well, with that in mind, someone who I'd more so see as a brother than a father, right? That would be Aaron Rennes.
This just gets better and better. Just because my oldest daughter is turning 53, Michael, you're a little older than that.
Anyway, so Aaron and I had a chance to, share about thoughts about where the company's going, what have you, and I've never been more excited and the timing right now. So with that in mind, I'm going to get Aaron to pop on and share a few things as well.
Well, Michael and everybody on the call, thank you. And I will say, it's interesting when you do these types of trips, it really does put a lot of pressure on not only you, but it puts a lot of pressure on your family. It puts a pressure on the home office. It has a lot of things that we need to obviously take into consideration, the way that we work, the way we support. But I agree 100% with Steve. All the accolades are behind us, all of the excitement, all of the energy, everything else. But you know what's still there are the people that are interested in helping us develop this incredible company called Numi. And so when I look at this past trip that we just did, literally, I think about some of the experiences that I've had bouncing around the world and jumping on airplanes and going to different places. And as I said, it puts a lot of pressure on at home, but it also puts a lot of pressure on those people that are traveling. There's a lot of time spent in airports, in crowds, trying to get through big long queues, jumping on airplanes, trying to get a little bit of rest before you get to the next location, getting out, getting into a hotel at 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Of course, your body has no idea what time it is, so it really doesn't matter when you arrive. It just matters when your day starts the next day, and then trying to figure out how to get up and get ready and get into those events. But the one thing I also want to mention, and I think it's important for you to hear it, and I've said this about Steve. Steve will always tell you, and he doesn't want to hear it and doesn't, he's going to put his arms up and he's going to tell me to cut it off. But I'm going to tell you this. There, there are a lot of people that when you travel, you see the worst side of them or you see the best side of them. I like to think I'm a pretty decent traveler. I don't really lose it too much. I can kind of keep my patience and my wits about me. But the fact is that there are times where you get really tired. The thing I'll tell you about Steve Scott is that I've had a chance now to travel with him around the world. We've gone to all kinds of different interesting places. We've had great meetings in different parts of the world that we absolutely cherish. And again, what we cherish is the time together. We don't cherish the time that we were with, a government in Cuba, let's say, or government people in different countries. What we're interested in is the people and the relationships and the partnership and how we operate. Well, the thing is that Steve, as Michael said, not to get into it, but the fact is Steve is a little bit older than the rest of us. So for him to jump on planes and trains and automobiles and be all over the world and doing all this different stuff, he's telling me he's going to chai tea me. So anyways, but the fact is that when you see Steve and you're with him that much, you see his true heart, and his heart never changes. His love for people never changes. His confidence, his desire to help, his assuredness, that never changes. His belief system, it never changes. It doesn't change when nobody's looking. We always talk about the definition of integrity, and we all have chances to make mistakes. We'll always do that. But we have these wonderful opportunities to help each other and assist each other. But again, when you see somebody under that type of pressure, it's immense. And you see the way that they act or react, it gives you a pretty good idea of who they are. And that's who Steve is. The same person that talks to you every day from his heart. That's the same person that I traveled with. That's the same person that explained and educated people on glutathione and our formula and our technology and the science. He's the only guy that I know that can really stand up in front of a medical board of individuals that are practicing medicine and be able to have a conversation, help them understand things the way that they've never been taught. They never knew before. But now they understand, and that's why we have all of these medical professionals that are using our products and recommending our products to their patients, because we have something that nobody else has. And that's what Steve has in his heart. So you can never change that. As Steve goes around the world, he's going to stand on stage. He's going to tell you exactly how he feels. He's going to give you the information directly from his heart, delivered through his mouth, so that allows a message that hits you here. It doesn't just hit here. It hits you here. And that's the experience that I had. So going into the Philippines and meeting up with Mark, guess what, folks? As Mark said, I haven't met Mark before. So I had a chance to walk in the door and see Mark and Annette, his beautiful wife, and be able to spend time with them and talk about the good, the bad and some of the ugly of network marketing and some of the markets and issues and things that they deal with. Well, guess what? I take all of that back. I run back to the organization at home. I have our people start looking into some of the details, and we start working through some of the issues and solving some of those problems. When we had a chance to meet Mentor Anna, what an incredible energy she has. She's excited. She's running. She's got a big team. They're motivated. They want to build around the world. And I told the story that you never know where people are going to be when you start building your team. You never know where people are going to learn about your business, about Numi. Let's use Numi. And where they may be. So we had an opportunity before we left to go to the Philippines. We had a person come into our office one day, and I watched her run across. My office is in the front of our building. I have a big window, and so I saw her walk across from the building next door. I saw her come into our office. Well, we don't get that many visitors that are just walking in from the business next door. So I thought, well, that's kind of odd. So she walks in. I walked out. I said hello to her. And she said, "Oh, I'm so excited to meet you. I've heard so much about you and Numi." She said, "My friend lives down in Provo. She asked me if I would be willing to look into a company by the name of Numi because one of her friends and family members in the Philippines by the name of Anna wanted her to find out if this company's real. So I drove down and I find out that you are right next to my office. Your company is right next to my company." And so now we've got all of these people that every day run from office to office, and they come in and they buy packs, and they bring people in and they buy packs, and on and on. So you never know where the person is going to be that you reach out to, that you touch, and that may become part of your Numi family. And that is the truth. That's what happens every day. And so we see it. We were able to talk about it. We had some, oh, Steve, you wanted to say something?
No, go ahead. You finish. I just wanted to add one.
But you never know where these people are going to be. You never know who they're going to be tied to or connected to. And so one of the things that we talk about is making sure that we have this incredible neutral stance. When Steve and I come into a country, it's open to everybody. When we go in, when Ryan goes into a country, it's open to everybody. If Chris goes into a country, it's open to everybody. Numi wants to make sure that it's open arms for everybody, and that's what we found. It didn't start that way. It started off with a lot of work and a lot of competitive spirit, and then it joined together, and that's really what we were looking for, and we see that across the board. Steve, you want to jump in?
Yeah, I wanted to say just a couple things. One, to highlight what you said. We have his Latino man that comes into our office all the time, and to show you how wonderful this is, his son became our marketing director. Unfortunately, he passed away, but he recruited somebody in Hungary. We're not in Hungary, but we are now. But that person now, how many diamonds is he? Double or triple?
So he's double. He should be triple by the end of the month.
Okay. He already has diamonds under him. And today we had a call with them. Today, somebody completely different has us on with 91 people from the captive nations, from Latvia, Estonia, and Lithuania. Now, they were under communist rule until the Iron Curtain came down, but it is amazing that, and do they have a lot of money to spend on? No, but they are so excited about having their own business. 91 people from 3 nations in the Baltic that were captive nations. They were basically enslaved most of their lives. And thank God Ronald Reagan said, tear down that wall, because once the wall fell, the whole Iron Curtain started falling. And these people are free. Those of us that live in freedom have no idea what it's not like to have freedom. And I just absolutely love that. I do have to say one more thing. My son, Devin, that some of you know, has been in medical training for 12 years. He's in his 3rd and final year of cardiothoracic surgery. Last night, he did his first solo heart transplant. There is a man walking around today with a new heart because my son has had the stamina for 100-hour weeks for the last 12 years. And I'm just so grateful. And you know what? None of that would have happened without many of you that have been faithful to our family over the years. My guest has just arrived, Aaron. I'm going to have to jump. This is my future son-in-law. Woo! I'm so excited. I'll go get him.
So thank you, Steve, for giving us that, because again, we don't know. As a matter of fact, I've had Jolt, who is from Hungary, in our office this week. He's been in there every day. We're doing Zooms and everything else. And the guy has, I can't remember how many thousands of people he already has in his organization in like 4 months. He's just building and building and building. He's extremely excited and focused on the opportunity. So what I was going to say is, let me just now shift into, as we went through the Philippines, we really identified that we have some incredible leadership there. As Michael talked about, Mark has done a phenomenal job at keeping this foundation of people and growing his team and growing his organization. And Greg is a part of that. And we really saw this recommitment. We saw this relationship that came back together. We saw the fire lit. And of course, we had Dr. Celine come in, and she went to the medical board meeting that night. And it was incredible. I mean, we had so many incredible people there. But the reason that I bring it up is that as Steve was talking, we had a couple of people, and I'll tell you this right now, there are skeptics. Steve was showing photos that we don't show the general public. There were skeptics in the audience, and Steve had a chance to talk to three of the people. And out of the three, every one of them said, yeah, I am absolutely mesmerized by what you have. I need it. I need it for my patients. I need it for the people that I serve. I need to get this product in front of them. But it wasn't that quick. They didn't just, oh, okay, I'll just take it. They had to come up and spend some time with Steve. That's what happens, folks. You got to realize not everything you say is going to resonate with the people that you're working with every day. Not everything that you explain. And one of the things that I'm working very, very aggressively as a CEO of this company is to try to bring down your desire to be too intellectual on this products. You don't need to know everything that Steve knows. You don't need to be able to explain it like Steve. Steve has a way of explaining things in a specific way that is very captivating. So the most difficult part about that is hearing Steve, the way that he explains it makes me want to explain it the same way. So I always tell people, all you are is the messenger. You're just getting people to the message. Just spend your time being the messenger. Realize you don't need to be the message, because you have some incredible individuals in this company that really understand the product, the science, the technology. And so allow that to be what it is. But I say that because we just had an incredible event in the Philippines. It was my first time meeting a number of individuals, and what a great chance it was. We then, as Steve said, jumped on a plane, flew into Jakarta. Had an incredible meeting there. It was really our launch event with our top leadership team in Jakarta. We had 2,000 plus people there, and we spent literally a full day of just meetings. I mean, it was incredible from early in the morning until late at night. And then we jumped on a plane and flew over to Surabaya. And then, of course, started it all over again the next morning. We had an incredible meeting that day. Again, as Michael said, I think we had 3,500, maybe even up to as many as 4,000 people at that event. And we just watched the energy just rise. I mean, just this increase in people's confidence and their belief system. And so we didn't even spend that much time. I think Michael spent 15, 20 minutes on stage. I spent 15, 20 minutes on stage. Jonathan spent 15, 20 minutes on stage. But then we let people really hear from Steve. We let Steve really talk about the product, really give them information, get deep into the details, give them information that maybe they couldn't get through a conversation on a video, or maybe they couldn't hear it on a Zoom, but they could hear it from Steve in real life, in person. Now, I may never be able to get Steve over to Indonesia again. So I knew that that was my opportunity to get Steve into Indonesia and really have him really set that hook, if you will, because Steve can do it the way that nobody else can. And giving people an understanding, giving them the knowledge that they need to really feel confident in these products. And then once they use the products, they'll start to see the difference. They'll see the changes. They'll see what's starting to happen. So I want you to know that we had some incredible experiences that we will never forget. We had some incredible experiences that we will absolutely cherish. But my most important experiences that I get to have as I go into these different countries is my relationship that I'm able to build with you, the people, the leadership, the teams, the organizations, our local management, our local staff. Those are the people that we want to work with every day. Those are the people that we want to see have success in their life. And we're breeding success. And I always tell people, again, don't define success by a dollar. It has nothing to do with the dollar. It has everything to do with the way that you conduct your life and the way that you operate and live your life. So don't worry about the dollar. Focus on helping people achieve the dreams that they're looking to achieve. Give them that opportunity. And I promise the dollars will follow. I can guarantee it. But I want you to know we are going to change people's lives around the world. It's going to be exciting. We're going to do it together, but we can't do it without you. So remember, we need you. We need you as a part of this company. We're excited about helping and supporting you. I had a funny, interesting experience with a guy that came in today, and he said, you know, it's interesting because so many companies forget about the field. So many companies really get focused on doing everything that they can. The guy that brought him into our company said, not Aaron. Aaron listens to the field and he implements the changes that they're asking for. The reason that I do that is because you are the ones on the ground. You're the ones getting, you know, punched in the face and the nose, taking the bullets, taking the arrows. You're the ones that are getting hit. And we know that. And we give you all of our accolades on our side for your patience and for your confidence in us that we're going to continue to make this company better. But I got to tell you, this big change that we just went through in the back office, the technology platform, I want you to know we had to do it. There wasn't a choice. We had to do it. We believe we picked the right partner. And we believe that as we grow and scale this company, it will give you all the confidence that you need as we continue to grow these markets. And so I'll be in Europe at the end of June. I'll be in Lyon, France on the 20th of June. I'll be in Hungary on the 21st and 22nd, but the main meeting will be the 22nd. I'm traveling on the 21st, and then I'll be in Spain on the 23rd. So if you have anybody, and I say this openly because we just talked about people in the Philippines that found people in Utah that came to my office, you never know where people are. So look at those people in your contact list, look at those people that you've been prospecting and see if you can get them out to one of the meetings, and we'll have the details up on the sites. We're locking down venues even as we speak right now. And so once we have all of those, we want to, and I invite you to invite the people that you know to those events so that we can help them achieve that level of success they're looking for, whether it be in Europe, whether it be in any other place. So realize we've got all kinds of opportunity in front of us. And again, I appreciate each of you because you are the ones that are out there making the changes happen. And I appreciate you for that. So with that being said, Michael, I'll turn it back to you.
Hey, before you go, do you want to do a quick teaser about your event thing? I think you may have forgotten.
Oh yeah, you know, it's interesting. One of the things that we identified, sorry, I had Steve jump back in and it took me right off track. One of the things that we recognize through some of the tours that we've been doing and different places that we've gone in the world is that we have to ensure that you understand what NUMMI events are when it's a corporate event, what NUMMI events are when it's a team-led event, or what NUMMI events are when it's just purely a private event. And so we need to understand the dynamics of those events. You know, when we go into a country, as I mentioned earlier, when Steve and I, when any NUMMI corporate representative shows up in an event and we're paying for that venue, it's open to everybody. There's not a person that is absolutely turned away. I promise you that. So we want to let everybody and give everybody the opportunity to come into these events and really be touched by the energy and embrace whatever that future looks like. If it's a team event, well, that's up to you on who you want to invite and be a part of, and maybe even NUMMI will participate or contribute into some of those, but it doesn't mean that it has to be open to everybody. It means that they have the ability to say yes or no. And so ultimately, depending on who's paying for these events, depends also on who's organizing and setting up the standards and the stage for the events. And then, of course, there are always private meetings. And I got to tell you, I get on a lot of private Zooms. I do a ton of Zooms every week. Those are private. Those are personal. Those are for a team. Those are for a growth in a country. I did one this morning at 9 a.m. for a group in Lyon, France, where we were really hyping up and getting ready to promote the big event coming up. And then, of course, I jumped on the next call, which was at 11 with the group out of Latvia and Estonia and Lithuania and had that chance. Well, guess what? They want me to come there. But we've got another big group growing in Latvia right now. We've got another big group growing in Croatia right now. So when I go there, it's open to everybody. I will not go to a market and say I'm going to do a private meeting, because I'll tell you why. I don't have time. So even me jumping around Europe is just a quick trip to make sure that I'm touching those teams that are growing like absolute wildfire. And I want to make sure that I'm there. So just again, realize we'll roll this out in about, I think 2 weeks from now is our first of the month Wednesday call. And the plan is to really give you a document that you can kind of be guided by. And it's just guiding principles. Doesn't mean that it'll work perfectly every time, but it does give us those guiding principles that will take out a lot of the drama, a lot of the headaches, a lot of the concerns that you have in the field. We just want to make it so easy to work with NUMI that it's as easy as 1, 2, 3, like our system. And that means that teams are collaborating, that teams are coming back together, that teams are working together to make NUMI great. It's not about just a team. It's about NUMI. So when we're doing big NUMI events, let's make sure it's all about NUMI and bring everybody in so that we can show a big show for us. So Michael, back to you.
Beautiful, beautifully said. And it's funny, isn't it? We've traveled so much, you've gone, it's a couple of weeks away. It's next week, just so we're clear. It's this day in 7 days. And I'm the same. I'm like, what day of the week is it today? Traveled too much. Okay, the next part of this segment, I cannot wait to share with you, because language does not need to be a barrier. You know, about 16 months ago, a gentleman reached out to me about Indonesia and said, can we launch it? I said, no. He's like, well, here's my background. Been super successful in the past, didn't blow his own trumpet in some egotistical way, just said, look, this has been my history. And I'm like, whoa, this guy's history is so impressive. And this is the beautiful Jonathan we keep talking about. When you meet him in person, he's only tiny, but his heart is bigger than Texas for people, and his wisdom is even bigger than that. Now, I say this without any disrespect to NUMI, because NUMI, all of us have built an amazing business in such a short time. But just putting it in perspective, Jonathan has had businesses bigger than the entire NUMI existence in all countries right now in the past. So we're going to hear from somebody, success leaves clues, who isn't dropped on the top of a mountain, somebody who's done it. And for me, I don't know about you, I don't care who it is, cross-line, up-line, down-line, anyone who's hit the pinnacle of success in this industry, I'm going to shut up, I'm going to get a pen, and I'm going to take some notes and see what I can learn. So we're going to have a translator, but I'm just going to bring their screens up now. So this is the awesome Jonathan, if you want to unmute, buddy. And Ratu, I'm just going to make sure I've got the right one unmuted. Could you just say a word, please, Ratu?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. So by the way, Ratu means something in royalty, by the way. So we're dealing with a queen, just so we're clear, translators. And so I'm going to go through a few questions that may need to be translated. I've kept it to 7 questions, guys, because I don't want it to drag on, but I think it's going to be the most profound 7 questions of your life. So with that in mind, I've told you a lot about Jonathan and his background, and we're so blessed to have him join the team. But Jonathan, how excited are you that NUMI is now finally launched in Indonesia?
Oke,
Pak Jonathan?
jadi
Yes.
Yep.
Silakan, Pak.
Silakan Bu. Ya Bu.
Ya, Pak, pertanyaan dari Pak Michael adalah seberapa bersemangat Pak Jonathan setelah NUMI sekarang akhirnya benar-benar hadir di Indonesia nih, Pak?
Saya sangat bersemangat sekali Bapak Ibu semua karena produk NUMI sangat dahsyat Bapak Ibu semua.
Okay, I'm very excited because NUMI products are very powerful.
Karena dengan teknologinya hydrostat nanoteknologi yang diciptakan oleh Steve Bapak Ibu semua.
Because ladies and gentlemen, because it's because of hydrostat nanotechnology created by Steve. Pak Jo, silakan lanjut aja untuk bisa ditranslate penuh, Pak, supaya nggak ketahan-tahan, Pak Jo.
Oke. Karena produk NUMI bisa membantu banyak orang dari sisi kesehatan, kemudian dari sisi awet mudanya, dan juga dari sisi keuangan, sehingga kami di Indonesia memiliki slogan bagi NUMI yaitu healthy inside, beauty outside. Healthy inside untuk nutriswis, beauty outside-nya untuk miskin.
Okay, Yumi products can help many people in terms of health, youth, and finance. So we in Indonesia have a slogan for Yumi, which is healthy inside, beauty outside. Healthy inside for NutriSwiss and beauty outside for Yumi skin.
So, another question. How many, this is to blow people's brains apart, because I thought when I started and I did my 90-day run, my 90-day run, my 90-day run and hit Crown, I thought I was working hard till I met Jonathan. So, how many webinars does your team perform each and every right now?
Ya, Pak Michael merasa bahwa beliau sudah bekerja sangat keras untuk mengembangkan jaringannya dan mengherankan bahwa ternyata ada orang yang bekerja lebih keras lagi, dan pertanyaannya adalah berapa banyak webinar atau Zoom saat ini dilakukan, Pak Jo?
Saat ini bekerja sama seluruh tim saya yang follow sistem, maka sudah terjadi 6 kali presentasi dalam satu hari dan pasti akan terjadi 10 kali dalam sehari. Jika Bapak Ibu bisa bayangkan terjadi 10 kali dalam sehari, maka akan menjadi alat mesin duplikasi bagi seluruh tim Anda dan tidak akan bisa diikuti oleh company lain.
Okay, currently, thanks to the cooperation of my entire team who follow the system, there have been 6 presentations in a day, and we'll go to 10 times in a day, and will definitely happen. If you imagine happening 10 times a day, it becomes a duplication machine tools for your entire team, and will not be followed by other company.
Beautiful, beautiful. And isn't it interesting that, you know, as a leader, we set the tone. So when I heard at one stage, when I heard he had 4 webinars a day, I was like, what? That was 5. Then it was 6. I'm like, 10. Are you blowing my mind? But one key point about Jonathan is he's humble enough to have come to Numi and said, what systems do you already have? Let me fit into the current systems you have rather than reinvent the wheel. That's a humble leader. Now, my next question is, how important do you think it is for a member to learn how to present the presentation personally to become a big leader?
Oke, menarik bahwa Pak Jonathan melakukannya 5 kali, 6 kali, bahkan akan menjadi 10 kali. Itu sesuatu yang tidak terbayangkan. Berikutnya pertanyaannya adalah seberapa penting belajar melakukan presentasi secara pribadi untuk menjadi seorang leader yang besar.
Bagi saya sangat penting karena kita bisa melakukan presentasi, maka kita menguasai pengetahuan tentang company, tentang produk, tentang opportunity daripada Yumi sendiri, sehingga semua leader di jaringan saya yang follow sistem, yang sudah memiliki peringkat 1 star di dalam tim saya, mereka harus mau melakukan presentasi di Zoom 6 kali sampai 10 kali dalam sehari.
It is very important because by being able to do presentation, we mastering the knowledge of the company, products, or opportunities in Yumi. So all leaders who already have a 1-star rating in my team must be willing to do presentation on Zoom 6 to 10 times a day.
Interesting. Now, by the way, just so he's clear, he's not suggesting an individual has to do it 10 times a day, but he's suggesting that everyone contributes and together everyone achieves more, team. So it's amazing to see the duplication. You know, you can sell your way to a rank, but it doesn't mean you're going to stay there. If you actually build systems and processes, that's important. Now, this is very important. You asked me a question before you joined me, which was this: would I promote any other product in addition to Numi? Firstly, I want to know, why did you ask me that question?
Oke, pertanyaan Pak Michael adalah pada saat Pak Jo akan bergabung di bisnis ini, pernah bertanya apakah Michael dibolehkan untuk mempromosikan produk lain selain Yumi. Pertanyaannya adalah kenapa pertanyaan seperti itu diajukan oleh Pak Jo ke Michael?
Karena pada saat itu saya menguji upline saya adalah Michael. Jika Michael pada saat itu menjalankan 2 bisnis, maka bagi saya bukanlah mentor yang cocok bagi saya. Karena bagi saya pribadi dan kebanyakan top leader di dunia tidak akan bisa sukses besar jika kita menjalankan 2 bisnis. Leader harus memiliki disiplin, komitmen, persisten. Bukan join sana, join sini, berharap mendapatkan bonus dari sana sedikit, dari yang kedua sedikit, maka kelihatannya besar. Omong kosong, Bapak Ibu, leader yang memiliki mindset seperti itu.
Because at that time, I tested my upline sponsor, Michael. If Michael at that time answered that he was running 2 businesses, then for me, it was not a suitable mentor for me. Because for me, personally, and most top leaders in the world, it will not be able to have great success if you run 2 businesses. Leader must have discipline, commitment, and persistence, not join there and join here, hoping to get a bonus from here a little and the second business a little. Then it looks big. It's nonsense for leaders who have that kind of mindset.
So I was being tested and I didn't even know it. But I knew my answer, where I stand, and I'm so glad I had the right answer. But can I just say, it's interesting, there's a person that I know has joined the team just recently that came to me privately once about somebody else on the team and said, listen, this person's approaching me. I want to join you. And I said, well, I'll never have anyone join me if you've spoken to anyone else. My integrity is too important. It'll never happen. Never, 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 never. And I've done it many times. Big leaders, one guy that was #1 in his company. But in this particular guy's case, he said, the reason I don't want to join this individual is she's been this company, that company. She's promoting 3 products now. Next minute it's this, then that. And she doesn't understand that in my perspective, I don't see her as a leader at all now. Now, I'm not suggesting people can't in their business models have Numi products along with other things. But for people who want to be able to become a crown, I'm just showing you how to become a crown. I would never have gone and done multiple things because I wanted to hit crown. I didn't want to be, maybe diamond in 20 companies. I'd rather just be a crown in one. And I would have lost Jonathan if I had the wrong answer. This other person did lose this very high-ranking person from another company who's now on board under another person, not me, but under another person, because she illustrated scatterbrain, not focusing on one thing. So I just share this with you because you can see the repercussions of your impact if you don't think about what people perceive at the other side. Now, this is an interesting question because when you came to us, you had more experience than I've ever had, and I'm grateful for you and the team. You're amazing. You also have had a bigger business than all of, nearly double the size of Numi Worldwide right now under your own team. So when you came and heard about Numi 1, 2, 3 as a unified approach, how important do you think it is to have a system?
Bagi saya Numi
Menurut
1, 2, ya Bu, silakan Bu.
Ya, silakan lanjut Pak, lanjut. Saya translate ke bahasa Inggris saja Pak. Silakan.
Bagi saya Numi 1, 2, 3 sangat penting di dalam menjalankan Numi. Karena Numi 1, 2, 3 adalah nyawa dari support system yang sudah diciptakan oleh Alex dan Michael untuk menjalankan Numi. Tanpa Numi 1, 2, 3 sama saja dengan Anda menjalankan Numi tanpa memiliki arah. Karena Numi 1, 2, 3 adalah connect the product. Bagaimana mungkin Anda tidak memakai produk Numi, Anda bisa menginformasikan ke calon member baru Anda. Yang kedua, connect the tools. Bagaimana mungkin Anda bisa sukses tanpa tools yang sudah disiapkan oleh Alex dan Michael. Yang ketiga, connect the leader. Bagaimana mungkin Anda bisa sukses tanpa bantuan leader Anda. Maka bagi saya, Numi 1, 2, 3 harus dijalankan jika ingin Anda sukses besar di Numi.
Numi 1, 2, 3 is very important in running Numi because Numi 1, 2, 3 is the life of the support system that Alex and Michael have created to run Numi. Without Numi 1, 2, 3, it is the same as you running Numi without having a direction. Because Numi 1, 2, 3 is first connect the product. How can you not use Numi product? You can inform potential new members for that. Secondly, connect the tools. How can you succeed without the tools that have been prepared by Alex and Michael? And the third is connect to the leader. How can you succeed without the help of your leader? So for me, Numi 1, 2, 3 must be run if you want to have a great success in Numi.
Brilliant. And so what's your projection for the next 12 months in Indonesia so people can see your vision? How many crowns?
Pak Ju, berapa crowns yang akan diciptakan tahun mendatang?
Oke. Karena dengan adanya New Me 123, maka proyeksi saya di tahun pertama, omset Indonesia akan menjadi omset terbesar bagi New Me di dunia. Dan target saya di tahun pertama New Me di Indonesia akan tercipta 25 sampai 100 crown di Indonesia. Dan di tahun kedua akan tercipta 100 sampai 250 crown di Indonesia. Maka hati-hati bagi para leader di negara lain. Jika Anda santai, kami di Indonesia akan bergerak sangat masif di Indonesia. Momentum terjadi bukan dari perusahaan, tetapi momentum diciptakan oleh leader. Kerjakan Yumi dengan sepenuh hati kita, turunkan ego Anda, bantu semua grup Anda tanpa pilih kasih, maka Anda akan memiliki jaringan yang besar dan kuat, Bapak Ibu semua.
Because of Yumi 123, my projection is that in the first year, Indonesia's turnover will be the largest turnover for Yumi in the world. And my target in the first year of Yumi in Indonesia will create 25 to 100 crowns in Indonesia. And in the second year, we'll create 100 to 250 crowns in Indonesia. So be careful for leaders in other countries. If you relax, we in Indonesia are moving very massively in Indonesia. Momentum happens not from the company, but from us as a leaders who create momentum. Works on Yumi with all your heart. Lower your ego, help all your groups without favoritism. Then you will have a big and strong network.
Amazing. You know what I love? If you heard that and you were like, wow, amazing, Numi, go Numi, that's awesome. If you heard that and you thought my team will be bigger than your team, then your ego's in the way, right? I watched Zolt, who I have a lot of respect for. I'm looking at him right now and I saw him nodding. I saw his eyebrows raised. He's not in my team, right? We've interacted a little bit here and there for the greater good, servant leadership of Numi, but I could see him going, right, okay. And I know I text Aaron, we're going to hear about Hungary maybe next week. It's off the charts growth as well. So I love the fact that we can be humble leaders around the world and admire other leaders that are going to share something that may help. So this is really good. Now, final question is, are you proud to be a Numi member? Now, this is the only question that Jonathan asked me to ask him. So there you go. This came from him.
Pak Jo, seberapa bangga menjadi Yumi member, Pak?
Saya sangat bangga mencintai Yumi. Karena saya merasakan di perusahaan yang tepat, produk yang tepat, owner Steve Scott yang begitu mulia, Bapak Ibu semua. Dan saya memiliki mentor terbaik sepanjang karir saya 25 tahun di network marketing, Michael Ford. Sangat luar biasa sekali. Dan manajemen yang tepat. Karena memiliki Aaron Rennett, Bapak Ibu, sebagai the best CEO in the world menurut saya, Bapak Ibu. Ryan Scott sebagai Vice President, maka sudah saatnya Bapak Ibu kita bergerak bersama-sama untuk bergerakkan Yumi di seluruh dunia untuk membantu banyak orang. Percayalah Bapak Ibu, rezeki semua sudah diatur oleh Tuhan sesuai dengan kapasitas kita masing-masing Bapak Ibu. Maka bantulah semua member Yumi di dunia tanpa memandang upline, downline, crossline. Karena Bapak Ibu kita adalah sebuah tim. Together everyone achieve miracle. Mari Bapak Ibu kita bergerak bersama-sama, sukses untuk kita semua. Terima kasih kepada Pak Budi William, terima kasih kepada seluruh leader saya di Indonesia. Semangat untuk Bapak Ibu semuanya, go Crown.
I can't wait to hear this, Rotu. We all felt his emotion in that response anyway, but I can't wait to hear what it actually meant.
So, do I have to translate it maybe?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Pak Jo said that he is very proud and love Yumi because Pak Jo said that I feel that I am in the right company, the right product. The owner, Steve Scott, who has a noble heart that is not owned by owners in other companies. Pak Jo said that he has a best mentor to his 25 years of career in network marketing, which is Michael Ford. He said that Yumi has the right management because it has Aaron Rennett, the best CEO in the world, Ryan Scott as a vice president. So it is time for us to move together, to move Numi around the world, to help many people believe that fortune has been arranged by God accordingly to our respective capacities. So help all Numi branding in the world, regardless of upline, downline, and crossline. We are a team. Team means that together everyone achieve miracle. So let us move together. Thank you for Pak Budi William and all leaders who follow the system. Success for all of us. Go Crown.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Jonathan, for sharing, and thank you, Ratu, for making this very clear. But it was interesting just watching the emotion. When a leader has emotion about Numi, then you know they get it. I'll never forget, there was a lady who's no longer with us in a team who said to Steve, when he said, you know, your family, and she said, you're not my family, you just pay my checks. She's no longer here. She wasn't the right fit for Numi. Let's just put it that way. Whereas you can see just from 5 seconds of listening to Jonathan, even if you can't understand the language, his heart and his love for Numi, and we're going to make this together. I just love it. I used to say together everyone achieves more, but it's together everyone achieves miracles. So thank you. For those who want to hang around, I'm just going to play the video at the start again, so you can see what went down over there. I want to thank everybody today for an amazing job, and we'll close out with this one. So thank you, thank you. Oh yes, one more thing. Yes, go for it.
Michael, if I waited Numi another 1 year, maybe I might have lost even more my hair, Michael.
This is true. All right. Beautiful. All right, let's get this video up. For those that were in late, this is the quick snapshot. We couldn't put everything in there, but we could a quick snapshot of the Asian tour, including the Philippines, throughout all of Indonesia as well. And for those who love scuba diving, I'll show you that one at the end as well. But the meeting is over. Feel free to leave. But I think you'll love listening to this. Off we go. Well,